Namaste, Karunaka. I take the liberty of calling you Akka from Devon because the way you interacted on that first very call, it doesn't remain as a BJP leader and a very junior leader or junior Karyakarta relationship anymore. It's very much a sister-like relationship. So thank you for that to begin with. I must say that when I was going through your profile, it's a big list, and I did not know how much can I really cover while introducing you, and also uh, can I really understand everything. So, little bit about Karuna Madam. She is a BJP national leader in a manifesto of subcommittee member for Telangana. Also, she is involved in future cities, that is a smart city, what we hear, designing project. And as of now, I think 100 cities in India, she has been involved into designing the structure and smart city agenda. Also, she is an international speaker on various platforms across the globe, wherein she was invited for various discussions and forums to share her expertise and her experience about designing and futuristic cities. When I was going through her profile, I saw that it's called Futuristic Cities. She's a founder, but somewhere I thought it should be called Future Cities because that's how it sounds like what best our city infrastructure can be with the available infrastructure and challenges. Going into her personal details, she is from the IS officer's family background, and now she wants me to know, was it a cakewalk or a struggle for her? That is also another thing we are going to discuss. And so far, let us give her the mic and let her introduce herself better than I telling about her, because she would tell it more effectively and more convincingly than me telling remotely. So over to you, Akka.
Thank you. Thank you, Ketki. First, let me compliment you for this initiative. It's,
Thank you.
it's always a pleasure to see women digging into the lives of other women to know what made them successful or what were the challenges they faced so that other women can benefit. And that's a noble thought, and I should compliment you on that.
Sounds good and means a lot.
Yeah. So, well, you introduced me, but very quickly I'll say I lead a think tank on cities, urbanization, and future cities. My work is at the intersection of technology, innovation, and future cities. I have started this foundation in the year 2005 when smart cities was not popular, so everybody keeps asking me whether I started it now after the Prime Minister announced it, but I started in 2005 when nobody was talking about it. And perhaps we were the first people to have started something on these lines. So I serve on several international think tanks, not only speaking internationally, but contributing to several benchmarks, knowledge base, research, policy, environment, etc. So I'm also very happy that several countries have invited me, and some of the country presidents and prime ministers have invited me, because I think they value what we bring from India.
Mm-hmm.
India is such a complex country, and they would like to know how is it that we are dealing with our issues, and is there a good perspective that we can give so that they can incorporate in their own policy environment. So I've been pretty much lucky that way. I have given more than 100 keynotes all around the world, and I've given some thousands of speeches, and I enjoy what I do. I haven't done much for the current 100 Smart Cities mission other than being involved right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But but there's a lot that I can do in that space as well. So
Definitely.
I also teach and lecture at different business schools. More recent
Mhm.
was invitation from Harvard Business School,
Mhm.
and I also lecture very senior IAS officers. So I enjoy what I do.
Definitely. So, when did the journey start? I remember that you were working in a software industry in Bangalore.
Oh, okay.
And then how did you move on to this such a big profile? And
Uh,
also the various challenges you would have faced, and of course, the journey. That is something we would like to know.
so, many people ask me this question. They ask me, how is it that you work in this very niche area?
Hmm.
You will find architects, you will find planners, you will find doctors, you will find technology people, but you won't find someone who says that my main work is working with cities. There are not many who say that. I have been, it's a chance occurrence, you can say, like what we call a serendipity. I just found
Hmm.
it. It all started in the year 2001 or 2002. I was invited to lecture
Hmm.
at Administrative Staff College
Hmm.
for a program for IAS officers.
Okay.
So this almost now, if you calculate, it's almost like 20 years ago.
Ah,
So these IAS
definitely.
were sitting in the class, and they were going. They wanted a lecture on e-governance implementation.
Hmm.
So at that time, e-governance was very, very popular. So all of them sat in the lecture room. And then I remember distinctly my first lecture. I flew in from Bangalore, and I was in very casual outfit and went and gave a lecture on
Hmm.
e-governance implementation.
Hmm.
And I was a little apprehensive because I was very young, like,
Hmm.
20 years back. And I was informally dressed in some jeans and a long coat.
Ah.
But strangely, after my lecture,
Hmm.
uh, the very next day, I got a call from the Bangalore Municipal Commissioner.
Okay.
And he said, "You gave very interesting perspectives, ma'am. Would you like to come to Bangalore to give us more insights?" So,
Wonderful.
yeah, within a week, I was in Bangalore. And
Uh-huh.
the municipal commissioner, along with his additional commissioners, everyone, they were seated, and then they wanted to know how we could envision,
Hmm.
draw up a visioning plan for Hyderabad. I
Yes.
mean, sorry, for Bangalore.
Bangalore. Yeah.
That's because I again worked quite a bit in the area of visioning. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
you would know for the corporate sector,
Hmm.
we draw up visions for the
Yes.
companies, like what is the vision of Cisco, what's the vision of IBM.
Right.
So at that time, I was thinking maybe we could do vision for cities.
Cities. Huh?
They invited me for that,
Hmm.
and soon after that, Department for International Development UK
Hmm.
took me as an urban expert for
Hmm.
one of their projects.
Hmm.
And then Delhi Jal Board,
Hmm.
Sheila Dixit was the chief minister at that time.
Okay.
So they called me for a reform program of Delhi Jal Board.
Okay.
Then soon everyone started inviting me for inputs on cities, how to
Huh.
transform cities, etc.
Uh-huh.
Till such time when Dr. Manmohan Singh
Mm-hmm.
became the prime minister in the year 2005 as prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
He announced a program called Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, with the first ever program on cities.
Yes.
Then completely entrenched in that.
Hmm.
Until, of course, now our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji also speaks about cities quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it started in 2001, almost 20 years,
Hmm.
and I have hands-on experience. I'm not a theoretical person. I
Right.
do the desk job.
Yeah.
My team has gone into the depths of what happens in municipal corporations,
Ah.
what happens in the city,
Hmm.
how do we plan sectoral investments,
Hmm.
multiple things. So that's how it started long back with just one lecture.
Right. That's really wonderful. And I remember you were out of three women, you were the one of them when Cisco invited you, and I was on platform to give representation for CSR,
Okay,
and I remember seeing you sitting there. It's way back, 20 years old story,
right, right.
and definitely that's nice to connect back after such a long period where you have really crossed big milestone. So Karunaji, one really uh, ground level question.
Okay.
Um, India has been always called as a India lives in villages.
Hmm.
It's really not a city country. It's a township and villages, more of that. So why are cities so important? Why not villages designing?
Good, good question. So it is true, Ketaki, that all our lives in India,
Mm,
at right at the policy level, right at the helm of affairs,
mm,
everybody believed India lived in its villages,
mm,
which was true till recently.
mm,
But what we failed to see was that India was going through a transition
mm,
and was, let's say, a part of the whole process of globalization.
mm.
So, the world, what happened, there's phenomenal changes happening in the world, and India, being an integral part of the world,
Mm.
also experienced that change.
Yeah.
So, globalization led to urbanization,
Mm.
that led to industrialization and
Yes.
modernization. They come together.
Yes.
So when that happened, India always thought, we live in our villages and never bothered to create anything for cities. In fact, our Ministry for Urban Affairs
Mm,
came much later than
mm,
all the other ministries. It's
mm.
like the infant in our ministries now.
Ah,
It came much later.
ah.
So at that time, sadly, I'll give one example.
Sure.
In 1997,
Mm,
there was a cover story on the Time magazine.
mm,
It said that India is an epic story of wasted
mm.
prawns. Ah,
Okay. Oh.
why was that? That's because when
Mm,
urbanization was happening, the
mm,
South Asian countries, like take Singapore,
mm,
Japan,
mm.
Taiwan,
Taiwan. Yeah.
uh,
Indonesia. Mm.
all of them, Indonesia also,
Yeah.
all of them quickly used the urbanization that was happening
Mm.
and started building their capacities and developed their cities and gained their GDPs, and their GDPs moved into double digit figures.
Mm.
India unfortunately sat silently thinking that we live in our villages and we lost the opportunity. And that's why that Time magazine ka front page
Page
news
said so. Okay.
story of wasted promise. So why now today, fortunately, we are rectifying everything. Our Prime Minister realizes that it's very important to look at cities very carefully. Why is that? Because cities are the economic engines of growth.
Mm.
Cities contribute maximum gross domestic product to the
Yes.
country.
Yes.
So today,
Absolutely.
every city, in India, on an average, cities contribute something to the tune of 70% of the gross domestic product to the country.
My goodness.
And but the population in the cities is only 30%.
Ah. Okay.
We are just 30% living in
Cities.
cities, but we are
Mm.
contributing 70%
Ah.
because of industries and
Yeah.
development growth, etc.
Yes. Yes.
And just to give another example, the city that I'm sitting in,
Mm.
Hyderabad,
Mm-hmm.
contributes 85% of the GDP to Telangana.
Oh.
Hyderabad, Telangana
Huh.
is like nothing.
I
So
know.
that is the importance of cities.
Huh.
So now India lived in its villages, but now
Mm.
India has to learn to live in its cities
Cities. Yes.
and take care of the villages also sensibly.
Yes.
We can't
Yes.
neglect them.
Can't neglect them. And now with the pandemic, I think uh, again we need to think of making a self-sufficient or independent villages wherein the migration can be arrested,
Yeah,
and more employment opportunities in
yeah.
villages for people to survive. Okay. One funny question. You can choose not to answer, but still.
Okay.
I see you wearing saris in all the international
Oh
conferences.
my God.
So, is it a branding of India?
100%.
Okay.
100%. The reason it's also interesting to know why how this started.
Huh.
Years ago, my first ever international trip was on a scholarship to United States of America.
Hmm.
I was 24. I was
Hmm.
very young. I went on a scholarship.
Hmm.
And when I went there, it was a high profile program. So people were interviewing us. I was giving interviews to TVs. In fact, my first interviews of my life or
Mhm.
my career started in the US.
Okay.
I was quoted in US papers, interviewed in US papers. So at that time, what happened? Very interesting. Every speech I would give,
Huh?
they would like, oh, she's an Indian. So anything I said was recorded as Indians think this way.
Indian thing. Yeah.
Indians look this way.
Hmm.
So everything I said, what is this? I'm just one small person from India, and then they are just writing everything. Indians talk like this. Indians study like this. Then it started occurring to me. Then very transformative thing happened. In one of my speeches, I spoke about Constitution of India, and I just talked about we the people of India, everything, and because I used to read D.D. Basu a lot.
Okay.
And so obviously,
that influence was there.
And when I was talking about Constitution of India, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and I started having goosebumps. So much so that I felt so patriotic that in my life I never knew this something could feel so
proud of.
Yeah, so good. Yeah. And then at that minute, I decided I'm going to represent India properly wherever I go. That is, like, you can imagine, like almost 26, 27 years ago.
Yes, yes.
And since then, I know that anywhere we go, not only me, you, your colleagues, anyone, all of us travel internationally. But we should remember that we are the ambassadors of our country.
Yes, yes.
Agreed. And that's why I thought, I should look like an Indian, but give the best to the world, so that India will see that people look like this, but they are delivering, such good work.
Yes, yes. And that's what I think our identity is. Very simple lifestyle and living, but high level thinking and technology and many other fields we are in. Has ever been a challenging being a woman and having this international profile?
Yeah, actually many challenges.
Okay.
Because one is, how much ever you say that now life has been, you are a fighter, you're a warrior.
Yeah.
You will have challenges. And also in my case, because I have had a very rough ride, at many levels. At a personal level, I've had a very rough ride because I had fragile health. I was declared, dead clinically twice.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, but I surmounted everything, and being a woman means, a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
So, it has been a bit of a challenge, more so because my son is also a special kid.
Okay.
He's a special child. He has autism and epilepsy.
Okay.
So it has been very difficult. So what I have done is, I have somehow turned these difficulties into a bit of an opportunity. Which I would want every woman to consider. Whatever, difficulties they have, they can really start thinking deeply, meditate on the issue, and convert it into an opportunity where your family gains, you gain, your children are safe, the country gains, and you are happy.
Certainly.
Yeah. So I have somehow struck a balance. I work from home.
Yeah.
All my life. Yeah. I've reached a stage where now a lot of people say, we want Karuna madam. She doesn't come to us. We have to go to her. Everyone, including very, very, big shots, also have realized that if we want, there have been times when they have brought me and my son together to inaugurate a facility, because we want her, and that she comes on her own terms.
On her terms, right. So, I think you were really too sweet and generous to me to attend the call and even agree to such a small session, and not a international brand, of course, but my motto is to bring up such stories wherein other women get inspired. Now that you said about your personal challenges and professional challenges, I'm sure they were difficult to deal with, and you were really courageous person who came out of it, and then a torch bearer. So hats off and congratulations on that. That is what the whole idea is. Next thought that comes to my mind, I will come to the smart city per se topic, but before that, just now I heard, or rather when I read about you, you come from a IS background or a family people such that. Was that an easy entry to the world, or that was a challenge?
No, not at all. Not at all easy.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. I was born to an IAS officer. My father was like none other. a
Okay.
brilliant man. I mean, a brilliant man who had multiple gold medals to his credit and very unique bohemian man.
Hmm.
He always felt that we should go to Telugu medium school. So he put us in Telugu medium schools. All of us went to.
Okay.
But my father, I lost my father when I was a teenager.
Huh.
And that's it. So there's nothing like, no advantage that we got, because my father passed away and life became a very difficult ride, managing
Huh.
my mother. We all took care of my mother, who's so innocent, who
I understand.
got at a very young age.
Yeah.
We were all teenagers. My sister was barely 13.
Oh, okay.
So it was very difficult. Then immediately, the same year, my brother got into IAS.
Okay.
And but my brother's, he's been posted in Assam, and he had to go away, and his life was completely different. So there's absolutely no connection. Then I got married into an IAS family. My
Hmm.
father-in-law was chief secretary.
Okay.
And what happened? My father-in-law never wanted me to work.
Huh.
He said, no, he basically said, he's a very nice man.
Mm-hmm.
But, he said, we want educated daughters-in-law, but we don't want to see them work.
Hmm.
So my career was so difficult that I started working in my home and converted a small bathroom into a workplace,
I see.
and all alone. And the virtual work that people are talking about now,
Now,
virtual work, I started 20 years ago. You can even see my interview in Hindu. I was interviewed in the year 2007. And I explained, saying that I started this virtual working maybe, almost 20
back.
years. So it wasn't easy at all. It's just that people believe, in fact, not many know I come from such a family. It's just that
Yes.
once in a while I'm telling now, because it's important to keep legacy.
Yes.
I have a good family background.
Absolutely.
I want to do them proud.
Yeah.
So otherwise, not many people know.
Know about it. That was something wondering. It's news to me. Generally, this is what we hear, that once you have a solid backup, it's easy to come up. But in your case, it wasn't there when it was actually required.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Why do people call you futurist?
Oh, okay. That's a very nice thing. So I don't know why people started. It just started very recently that I get introduced in international forums as a futurist. So I started thinking about it, because it came as a surprise to me also, because in India we don't boast and we don't use those words.
Yes, yes.
Then I started introspecting why that happened, and then realized that I'm called a futurist for various reasons. Very quickly, I'll tell you. In the year 2003, again, I'm talking about 18 years back, I had written an article on public-private people partnership. It was called PPPP. Okay, PP.
Okay.
Okay, so it is public-private people partnership. Normally, at that time, they used to talk about only public-private partnership. Nobody talked about the people
part.
So I included it, and then that article was released by Dr. Abdul Kalam. And then he praised it. And so again, futuristic, you're thinking about, actually engaging the people. Look at our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. He always talks about his all missions, he says,
are around people.
Driven by Jan Andolan.
Yes.
It's only people.
Yes.
And I remember in the year 2003, I think I came out with another, service level benchmarks. When you supply service, you need to have those benchmarks. Not many IAS officers knew. So they used to ask me, ma'am, what is that? So I worked on it. We developed the protocol. 2010, after 7 years, it became a normal part of the policy.
Okay.
Then.
Okay.
And in the year, I think I came out with a crowdsourced protocol in the year 2007. No one really thought of what was a crowdsourced protocol at that time. So I engaged everyone. And we even made apps. That is in the year 2007, when open data was not even a policy in India.
Okay.
So went to the public utility, I ensured, and then maybe the first ever app that India produced was maybe my
office
protege. There is a guy called Amit. He made it for public transportation using sensors and giving the location for bus travel, etc.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, that was in 2007.
7, yeah.
All these hackathons,
Ah,
everything, maybe I was the first person who thought of everything. Then
wonderful.
the most important thing, cutting edge thing we did was
Hmm.
we came out with a protocol for crime analytics.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
at that time, no one thought of it. So
Right.
I was exposed to all these
Now
protocols.
one also no one thinks about.
Yeah. So, predictive policing, crime.
Predictive policy. Ah.
So we had a live case with us,
Mm.
the Dilshuk Nagar blast that happened in Hyderabad.
Mm. Mm, mm,
The
mm, mm,
police
mm.
came and requested me if my team could do something. All
Okay.
the big offices like Infosys and all the biggies tried and they couldn't go anywhere.
Mm.
My small team
Mm.
tracked everything. We analyzed the call data records of six telecom companies
Mm. Mm.
and completely arrived at the smallest, what we call as a suspect group.
Ah.
So it is that led to other the protocol
Yeah.
getting developed and all that.
Yeah.
So long back, that's again many years ago.
Yes. So that's the reason you are called futurist, because you are thinking 20 years ahead.
Yeah, always.
Wonderful. That's very what the points that you mentioned about safety and security. They should be part of smart city design
Yeah,
protocol, definitely.
that's
Now coming to your real topic, um, how should be the smart city according to you?
hmm. So smart cities are somehow the most misunderstood
Hmm.
cities in the world.
Hmm.
Everybody thinks smart city is about flying cars and too much of technology. It's all
Yes,
smart cities. According to me, I'm a very ground level-headed, grounded person. So
definitely.
for me, smart cities is nothing but cities that maximize the potential of every citizen. Like
Okay.
Saki should perform at her maximum best.
Hmm.
Karuna should be able to perform at her maximum best.
Best.
So give you opportunities to maximize your potential. How does that happen? That happens when the city understands three things.
Mm-hmm.
It looks at the economy,
Mm-hmm.
the ecology, and the equity. Okay, so economic activity has to be planned so brilliantly in a city
Mm-hmm.
that every city today you see is lopsided.
Yeah.
You will never see a good balance of big industry, small industry, SMEs, MSMEs, startups.
No, no.
We
Yeah.
find only either big
One
industries.
kind of thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is one
Mm.
balance.
Mm.
And second is ecological assets.
Mm.
Nobody really in India, we never bother much about preserving our lakes,
Mm.
looking at our trees,
Mm.
managing. So that is the second aspect. Third is equity. Whether the poor people,
Mm.
whether the disadvantaged, like including some of us, like women, are also
Mm. Mm. Yes.
the handicapped. All these people are given equal opportunity or no. So for me, inclusion is a very key thing.
Mm.
So, in fact, I'd like to tell you, in the year 2015, I worked on a very elaborate process of putting smart cities and equity,
Ah.
inclusion into place.
Ah.
So, we had several stakeholder meetings with the handicapped,
Mm.
the senior citizens, with
Mm.
children,
Mm.
with women,
Women. Yeah. Yeah.
all of them to be included.
Mm.
And no one has done it in India. So, I have developed a report and presented to the ministry also. It's called
Okay.
Smart Cities and Inclusion.
I see.
So that's very important. The other thing is, cities have to be seen through the lens of, let's say, gender.
Mm.
Vienna, something interesting I'll share with you. None
Sure.
of our cities we say is gender friendly, right?
Mm.
They say when we say gender friendly, they'll quickly think of safety. They'll
Yeah.
create separate seats for us in metros and buses. That's all people can think of.
Mm.
But, I'll give you one example.
Mm.
In Vienna,
Mm.
they did a very interesting experiment. So
Mm-hmm.
they went and asked men,
Mm.
how do you experience your city roads? So
I
men said,
see.
roads, we go to office and we come back.
Mm.
There's any number of people are asking, we just drive and come back.
Mm.
But they asked women.
Mm.
You know what women said?
Mm-hmm.
They thought and they said, oh, I take my pet for a walk in the morning.
Mm.
Then I take my elderly mother-in-law
Yeah.
to for her physiotherapy.
Yes.
Then I drop my children here, and they gave 6 7 things that they use roads in a different way.
Perfect.
Men went and came back.
Yeah.
When they spoke to them, they designed the city in such a way it becomes absolutely easy for women to
Mm.
commute.
Mm.
this is just one aspect.
Yes.
Okay, so we haven't ever done that. We
No.
did never talk to anyone.
No.
We
No.
think of safety for women in one small way, and that's it.
Yes.
The other important thing is, I interacted with someone exciting. I mean, always my life is like, you meet the best of people in the world. So I met one doctor in New York.
Okay.
You know what he has done?
Mm-hmm.
He has understood the New York City
Mm-hmm.
from the doctor's lens. And
Okay.
you know how he said?
Mm.
He said, supposing somebody has an accident,
Mm.
how quickly can that man reach the ER, the emergency room?
Yes.
And he saw the entire city, made a grid, and showed the authorities
Mm.
how quickly, if an accident takes place, which is the easiest hospital to reach and how to reach,
Yeah. Yeah.
done that. Now imagine in COVID
Mm.
today,
Mm. Yes.
emergency situation everywhere, not many know where to go, how to go, which hospital,
True.
what, right? So
Yes.
these are things that have to be planned. And
Mm.
my vision for any of the cities is,
Mm.
it's not very difficult to do all this. It just
Mm.
takes a will.
Yeah.
It just takes innovation.
Yes.
It
Yes.
takes smart thinking.
Yes.
So
Thinking. Yes.
all can be done with the
Yeah.
help of citizens. Government cannot do on its own.
Yes.
So
That's
that's
really
what,
good point.
yeah, that's
And
what.
and what you are saying is very much on the line of the slogan we have, of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Okay.
So that is something very important, that people should be involved in the thinking process, in the designing process, and as you very rightly mentioned, from every professional or a gender specific as well,
Yeah.
because we cannot think in such a minute and detailed way that just now you explained. One thing is the willingness to do the work, and second thing is the infrastructure availability. That those are the challenges. I think we should talk more on this in future. Uh, how much women involvement is important in designing smart cities?
Women.
Yeah.
Women are an integral part. If
Yeah.
women are not a part of the design,
Mm-hmm.
we will not be able to get anything. Let me tell you, in every the healthcare aspect, the design of basic housing,
Mm.
the design of water supply.
Yes.
It's only women who collect water. It's only women who look at, the hygiene aspects, right?
Yes.
So women have to be an integral part. I tell you, there's so many things that women, the sensitivity, the sensibilities that we have today are from women. So, recently I was a part of one high-level task force from, South Asia, big one.
Okay. Okay.
So we're planning some high-end housing, not high-end, not in the sense, not expensive housing, but
Right.
housing that meets the requirements of many people. And the first stakeholder that we all want to talk to is only women. That's all, because, see, even right from rooftop gardening,
Yes.
urban gardening,
Yes.
safety, security,
Right.
health,
Yeah.
nutrition. That's why they say that if women get equal opportunity to work, just like men, and earn, the country's GDP will go up by 27%. Yeah. You know why? If you and I earn money,
Yeah.
we will put it back in our homes.
Yes. Very true.
So women do that.
Yeah.
So there's so much that women can contribute.
Definitely. I don't have words to express what you said just now. And I think somewhere women also should show the willingness to think in this direction. And they should also understand that it is their responsibility to think globally, or more expanding their views, because they play an important role in building of society, and eventually cities as well.
Right.
That's all I have from my side. So I don't know, I thank you is not enough. There should be something more than this, but once when you are in Bangalore soon after the pandemic, we will meet if you get time, my team also, and something we can do for you for futuristic cities. Do let me know. I have people who can join you voluntarily, women as well, wherein we can be part of your projects.
Certainly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, KPT. God bless you.
Thank